Okay, guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Na 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 na. It's Abby. Hi friends, long time no see. As you can tell from the thumbnail, I want to talk to you about the books that I read in the month of July. If you can tell, the background behind me is quite different because my husband and I moved. It's been a whirlwind, and I'm so glad that it's over. I'm so glad that it's over. I have a lot planned for the channel, and I just need to get back into the swing of things. But one of my big things that I want to do is build myself a library. I'm so nervous about it, but also really excited. And I hope that you guys follow along while that's happening. But today we're going to talk about what I read in July. It was a really good reading month for not consuming a lot of books compared to what I normally read. The first book that I finished is Allergic, Our Irritated Bodies in a Changing World by Theresa MacPhail. So Theresa is a journalist, and the reason that she wrote this book is because her father passed away from an anaphylactic reaction. And so she became very curious about allergies, and she just kind of dove into finding out more and went into a lot of very detailed research on everything you can think of for allergies. She talks about food allergies, she talks about environmental allergies, she talks about even animals that have allergies. It was very cool. I learned a lot from this book. I gave it 4 stars. I do think that it gets a little repetitive, the information she's providing, and I wish that it was a little bit more concise. Next, my husband and I finished Dungeon Crawler Carl. We are listening to this audiobook together, all the audiobooks probably, but this book specifically is the start of the saga. So it is about Carl, and aliens take over the world. Carl has the misfortune of surviving the alien attack and getting into the dungeon, and he basically becomes a player of their game, trying to battle monsters and get achievements and make his way down into the dungeon. But he's not alone. He has a very nifty sidekick. Her name is Princess Donut, and I love her. And I cannot wait to read more about these 2 crazy characters. They're just so fun. These books have been a lot of fun to listen to with my husband. We're currently in the middle of book 2, and we definitely plan to continue the series. We are both like cackling at certain parts in the book. It's a good time. I gave Dungeon Crawler Carl 4.5 stars. Next, I listened to The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the beginning of a series, and it is about this young investigator named Din, and he works for like the best of the best, and her name is Anna. They have kind of a Sherlock Watson kind of vibe to me. Like, Anna's very reclusive, she doesn't like to go places, she's very quirky, so she kind of sends Din out to do her bidding and then come back. But there's a very unique magic system in this where Din is an engraver, so as long as he is smelling a certain scent, he is able to preserve these memories of what he's seeing, feeling, everything, all of his senses perfectly. And he's able to relay those details later to Anna. So he's kind of the perfect person to help investigate crimes, and that's what they have to do because they are inquisitors. So there's kind of a string of murders, missing people situation happening in this book, and you are along for the ride while they're trying to figure out what's going on. I ended up giving this book 4 stars, and I do plan on continuing the series. Next, I listened to The Midnight Train by Matt Haig. Going into this, I thought it was going to be very similar to Midnight Library, but it's a little bit different. The Midnight Train is about a man who passes away in his 80s, and he boards the midnight train. He's given the opportunity to get off on certain stops of his life and relive moments of his life. As he's going through his life, he is told over and over again, do not interfere, do not interfere. He finds that people cannot even see him when he's examining these moments of his life. But sometimes he is almost like a ghost, and so he can kind of interact, or people see him situation. I expected this to be more like the Midnight Library, where you can go back and kind of make the opposite choice. That's kind of what I was looking forward to in this book. It was still enjoyable. I gave it 4 stars, but I was just expecting something a little bit different going in. Speaking of going back to your past, the next book that I read was The Girl I Was by Jeneva Rose. I've never read any of her thrillers. It's the only book I've read by her. I loved it. This book is about a woman named Alexis, and Alexis just cannot take any accountability for anything going on in her life. She is problematic. That's a good way to put her. She's very problematic. After she gets fired and dumped all in one go, she ends up traveling back to her past and meeting herself in college. It's not like she's a ghost. She's actually physically there and physically able to interact with the world around her. And she's like, how do I get back? Obviously, I want to go back, right? She doesn't want to be stuck with her bratty teenage self, 19-year-old self. She has to figure out how to get home and kind of fix her life. I don't know. This book was just so cool. I really liked this book. And it made me reflect on how I was when I was 19. Man, I'm glad I was not I was not like them. She's just so bratty. Man, you're gonna think that you don't like Alexis, and then you meet Lexi and you're gonna be like, holy crap. I definitely recommend this book. I gave it 5 stars. I will be thinking about this book for a while. The next 2 books that I read were The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 1 and 2. Oh my gosh, I ate this up. I don't know what it is. I didn't realize that I loved Victorian drama. I freaking love Victorian drama. This is like not necessarily Downton Abbey, because I feel like that's like more proper. They're lords, ladies, whatever. But it is like Victorian England, but it's focused on a small town and dating and recovering a house, but also like the ins and outs of family. I just ate it up. I love this drama. I don't know why. I didn't realize I was this person. But I'm really glad that I am realizing it, because there's like 7 or 8 novels out there in this series, and I'm going to read them all. I gave Volume 1 4 stars and Volume 2 5 stars. The drama is way better in Volume 2. It just like builds and builds and builds. I'm just here for it. I'm so glad there's so many of these novels, and they're really short and easy to read. I'm so glad. Emma M. Lyon is a lady living in Victoria, England. It is the 1880s, 1883 to be more specific. And she's just moved home to her house that she's about to inherit. She's about to come into money. She comes home. Her cousin ends up making her live in the attic. Turns out that the cousin is broke. He's spent all of her money. So she is obviously upset about this. She's trying to recover some funds, able to still pay her funds, like her house and stuff like that. And then it's like all the little aspects of her life where she meets people. She has a friend. She has a maid that is really quirky. There's a ghost that haunts her house. There is a really funny and handsome vicar. There is a duke that she keeps running into. She has a tenant in her house because her cousin decided to cut off 10 feet from one side of the house and make those 10 feet on all 5 stories, like a little rental property. And so she is really friendly with the tenant, and there might be a little bit of a romance there. I don't know. Or maybe she's going to be romantic with the Duke. I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm here for it, and it's so, so good. If that's all you take away from this video is Emma M. Lyon and The Girl I Was, they were so good. Anyway, the last book that I read in the month of July was wow, I'm so flustered about Emma M. Lyon. Okay. The last book that I listened to was Welcome to Murder Week. This is about a woman named Kath, and her mother passes away, unfortunately. She doesn't feel like it's much of a loss because her mom wasn't really there for her. She ends up finding out that her mom bought them tickets to go to a murder mystery thing in England. So, on a whim, she decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to take the ticket and go. Well, while she's there, she starts to piece together that her mom had previously been there. And so she's kind of figuring out about her mom's past. And then she's also having to solve a murder mystery at this week-long trip. It is cute, cozy. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. This is not usually my genre, but it was enjoyable. Let's talk about my statistics. In the month of July, I read a total of 8 books. All of them were audiobooks. I read a total of 2,403 pages. That is an average of 82 pages per day. It took me about 4.25 days to finish a book, and my average rating was also 4.25. I read 4 female authors and 3 male authors, 6 new to me authors. I read 8 adults books. Of those 8 books, 4 of those were fantasy, 2 of those were historical fiction, 1 of those was a mystery, and 1 of those was a nonfiction. And my favorite book of the month, this was hard for me to pick, but I think it was Dungeon Crawler Crawl, because my husband and I were just having such a good time. Even though it's not the most highly rated out of my books that I read this past month, it's a freaking good time. And I'm going to be thinking about this book for so long. And I mean, obviously I'm continuing the series, but it's so good. I'm invested. I'm definitely invested, which is probably a good thing because there's like 6 or 7 books. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I have so many ideas bouncing around in my head, and I am so excited to share them with you guys. I hope you guys will join me along for the ride. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. It always helps my channel. And I will see you guys soon in a new video. Happy reading. Oh, my cheeks are smiling so much. Next I listened to The Tainted Cup by Robert somebody. Okay, hold on. Let me tell you what it's about. Man, he's not young. He's old. He's super old. Oh my god. What's on fire? Who's on first? Murphy. I was kidding. Middle-aged woman is 34. Middle-aged young woman? I feel like that's a young woman. Okay. I read 8 audiobooks, and that's it. That's all she wrote.